Hi, everybody. This is Gary Dean with Sentiment Timing, and this is our technical video report for Sunday, October 12th, 2025. Hope you guys are having a great weekend, and let's get started. Friday that was just a time bomb that just went off. The markets were up for most of the day. I'm going to go to a shorter term chart here. So you can see we gapped up, we tested these highs right here. And then we were just consolidating. So when we were here, I actually took a straddle trade with the spiders, with the puts and the calls. And I was more inclined that we were going to get the pop up above here. And I had pointed out this reverse symmetrical triangle. And actually in the room, I said, when we were here, I said, this thing's going to be pretty much dead. But then we got Trump tweeted about the tariffs, and China was going back and forth. And from there, the rug was just pulled out. And it's something that I've been warning about. I didn't know it was going to come like this. Don't get me wrong. But it was just an all-out sell-off. Any kind of bounce was just getting sold off right into the close. And for us, for the fund, we could have done really, really well. We made close to 3,300. But that's because it came down here, and I just basically closed that trade because I didn't realize we were going to just keep going. But in any case. So let's take a look at where, there's some levels we have to watch. If this is, you can see we do have bullish divergences on the this is a short-term chart, 2-minute. But if we get a bounce, you can see this is going to be really the important line, and the first important line in the sand for the bulls. It's going to be right at this at the 23% retracement to 6,600. So I'm going to make that and just make it red and put it bigger so we can see it. All right, hang on one second. Okay, so this is the first one right here. Now, if they get above it, we should see a reaction trade right up to the next pivot line, which is the 6630 level. And you can see that's going to be the moving average as well right here. So this is going to be really the important one, but you can see even if they get above that, we're then looking at another resistance level right here at the 6656 level. So the bulls have their, you can see where each one of these where they tried to bounce and it was taken out, it lines up with almost every one of these fib numbers. So again, if they get above that, then we're looking at a move coming up to the 6681. So those are the pivots on the upside on it. It's kind of hard to say what's going to happen. Are we going to see follow through coming in the futures market, or are we going to, because we got right here, we have some bullish divergences as well. So we landed right at the 50% retracement level, and that's from this move down here to the move to the highs that we made. So that's the 50% retracement level. If they move below that, let's say that we're going to, they still need a little more selling going on. This is going to be a really important line. It's going to be right around that 65.17 level, and I'll show you why. Because if we look on the daily chart, we have the 65.34 is the daily 50-day moving average. So if they get below it, you can see this is going to be this support right in this area, right around here to 65.12. So this, if the bulls can hold it here, then I would anticipate that we're going to get some kind of bounce back up to possibly test the highs or even break them. I'm not saying that this is the one that's going to really drive the markets lower. It might. We may get a lot of people that are starting to panic from the the tariffs are back on the table again. We have to wait and see on that. But if we get a bounce, this would probably be the area. Now, if the bulls lose this, the support right here at the 64.30 would be the next level, and then we're still looking at a move to the 23% retracement, and this is on the daily actually, I can move this up a little bit more. Okay, so the 23% retracement is 63.08. So there's a possibility we do come down here in the next couple days, but right now we're at some support. We're burning off the some overbought levels here, but we have these bearish divergences, and that's really what I've been warning about and saying, right now everybody's just looking up right now, and these divergences have been ignored for a big part of this rally, but they're going to have to be paid off, and this is why I suggested possibly, I said I was going to do it is take some positions in VXX into November. And really, the reason why was just some protection. It was cheap. We had, we could have bought some, I think I had 5 contracts on it. I'm still holding them. I'm not going to sell them right now because I still, whether it started on Friday or we're going to get a bounce back up to the highs again, I still see within the next couple weeks that we're going to have a larger down move that could shed 10% from these highs up here. So this is this is one of the reasons why I'd said look for some protection on this, because we most likely what will happen is if we do get any kind of big move down, we're going to see VXX climb up to the 38 level, and that's pretty close to where it came on Friday. So this was all the way down at the 33, so it's a little bit more than a 10% move to the upside, and that's really the protection that you need on it. And my thought process was if it didn't go down, we were going to make money on the stocks that we have. So I wasn't, getting protection to me is worth it, and that's why I suggest it all the time. So let's take a look at some of the support levels here. You can see we're right at some right here, and actually I'll show you on this chart here. So again, we're at the 50% retracement. This is support as well. You can see resistance, then we broke through it, then it was used as support. So this is an important line right here. Below that, we have the same type of thing right here. We have support. It was kind of used as resistance up, and then it moved back up again. So these are really the two lines that I want to look at. It's going to be the 6508 or say the 6500, and pretty much where we closed on Friday, the 6555. So I suggested in the room that I was taking a spider straddle, and really the main reason was when we get a big move like we saw on Friday, it's typically followed by a big move, whether it be an extension to the downside or we're going to get a 50, 60, 70 point rally at the open. We gap up, and this is just a one-day movement here. So I'm up in the air with it. If we move up, then again, what we really want to keep an eye on are the resistance levels that I was pointing out here, and that's going to be the 6600 and then the 6637 level. And if they can get above that, that's about 80 points on it, the trade that we're in will be in the money. And then we also have this the 6655. So I'm like I said, I'm kind of up in the air. I'm leaning more towards we are going to get some kind of bounce, and it's going to give us a lot of information, because if we get a bounce and now these resistance levels start playing out, we could see some follow through, and maybe this, the move that I was expecting to happen in a couple weeks started, on Friday. So just stay open minded with things. Volatility is back here. And it's one of the things, like I've said, I've been warning about has been, just nobody's really worried about any kind of downside, and the only thing they were looking at is where can they get long, and what are they going to do with all this money that they're going to make. And in my years of doing this, that's typically not the time that you want to be running without any protection, because they do it. I don't know. Usually you don't know what's going to take place or what's going to trigger it. This time was the tariffs, but we just have to keep our eyes open. And I've been saying that, I'll run with the bulls with 1 foot on the exit. We got the big drop. This thing was enormous on Friday. And now we're going to turn around and look to see where support is. If it holds, take long positions, because we're going to get big moves to the upside as well. So let's take a look at some of the charts on our timing view here, and you can see as far as this is, I'm actually going to hide the targets. So as far as options wise, you have the 6550, that's pretty much where we closed. If we get a move below it, you can see the 6500 is actually going to be the next gamma support line. And that's really, this is a projection as far as volatility is down to the 6350 level. But on the upside, you can see the 6600, that matches matches up with one of our fib numbers. So 6,500, 6,600. Those are really the numbers that we want to see. If they get above 6,600, you can see that we have the next gamma resistance line is 66.95 level. So that's what we would keep an eye on. On IWM, we have the same thing. If we head down, we have this support at 235. It's about $2.80 lower. And on the upside, again, let me move these targets here. And on the upside, you can see we have no real gamma resistance until 243. But let's take a look at the charts on IWM here. And hang on one second. Okay, so you can see on the hourly, that's a daily, hang on one second. Okay, so here we have support. This is right where IWM stopped. So it's at the 237.54. You can see those are the lows here. If it goes below it, we have support at the 236.80 level. If it gets below that, and most likely it would do it like on at the open, we then have to keep an eye on the 235.39 level. So those are them. You can see we have some bullish divergences as well on IWM. So it would have me leaning to the upside. And if we get up, I think it's going to be, we have to watch this 242.44 level because that's our resistance zone right here. But really the first line they're going to have to get over is the 239.33. So if they get above that, then we assume that we're coming up to this 241.50. And if they can do that, you can see this is going to be the heavy resistance because these are the moving averages on the 15-minute chart that are starting to cross. And if they come down and then these things are used as resistance, that's typically when we see some kind of trend, come into place on that. So let's see what plays out tomorrow. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to you guys in the morning.